Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the City Council meeting for July 6th. Mason, did you want to do a roll call?
Sure can. Councilmember Reardon,
Here.
Councilmember Sierk,
Here?
Councilmember Swift, Councilmember Feist,
Here.
Mayor Gunzelman.
Here.
Everyone's here.
Can you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I'm going to open the public forum. At this time, the public is permitted to address the City Council on items not appearing on the agenda. Comments may not exceed 5 minutes. In accordance with state law, however, no action or discussion may take place on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. However, go right ahead. Some things that are brought up in public comment will possibly be addressed by the city manager's comments, which is immediately following this. So I urge you to stick around. But
Would you
go
like to
ahead.
speak?
No, not. So this would be the time to speak to it.
It's not.
It's not on the agenda, so this would be the time if you wanted to make a comment.
Okay. Sherry Curtis. I'm here from Amador County in Amador Pines. And I just wanted to bring to your attention that sometimes there's old proverbs on Hosea 4:6 that says we perish for lack of knowledge. So what I wanted to do tonight was bring you some more information about cannabis and what it does to the person's brain and heart and other issues for the general welfare of your constituents, which will come down into Amador County as well. It's not good. And I have a study, one of the latest ones, that proved about what happens to the heart, whether it's psychosis for a young adult, getting into the marijuana issues now that are 4 times as strong as when my children went through. I had, in that day when the cannabis wasn't as strong on the THC, we still had psychosis and problems with the children. I was working with my city at that time in Southern California, and we had a system of parent alert and working with the city to try to divert children and young adults from getting into the cannabis issues because it is addictive. At that time, it wasn't that strong, but as it is now, and the young adults would come and mix with beer or whatever else they could get to get that high. At that time, they had told us that the THC stays in the body for at least 28 days. And so it builds up and it goes into the fatty issues of a young person who's developing. Now, how did they get it? A lot of them got it through their parents' homes that were smoking, and they were able to get it illegally as well. We lived in Calaveras County, and I just want to let you know what happened there after the fire, they just came in like a drove, buying up properties to produce marijuana, some legal, others not legal. And the clientele that turned into our area was not something you wish to bring to your town. Right now, you're known as the jewel of the mother lode. But if you decide to bring in a cannabis store with other stores now wanting also to come, plus the fact that they now have the ability to have smoking lounges to be added that have to be at the location where you sell, but it's also bringing in, well, now we can serve them food while they sit back and smoke and discuss the issues of the day. Well, most of them will do nothing about any issues of the day. You will tarnish your image that you have now. It will be a toxic waste seeping into the rest of Amador County. And I just pray, since I actually, in the system we had
30 seconds remaining.
okay, divert, I would ride in the ambulance with the emergency hospital with children who were high out of their minds on marijuana. So I just wanted to bring you a study that maybe you will have time to read and do further research before you take this city. And I understand it's hard because you need funds. Every city does. But if you take it to where it's not good for your people or your children or young adults, then you're doing a disfavor to the whole county as well as Sutter Creek. You won't be known as the jewel of the mother lode any longer.
All right, that was
So,
the 5 minutes.
okay,
Thank you.
that's it. So,
If you want to leave that, they can send us copies. You can leave it at the table here and they'll copy it and make sure we get them in our email.
Thank you.
Anyone else care to speak on an item not on the agenda? Nope. Okay, I'm going to close the public forum and that takes us to the city manager's report.
Evening, council. Just some quick updates on some of the city projects. So last week we saw a early version of the phase 1 design for the new wastewater plant. Our engineer at Hydrosciences is reviewing all those materials technically, and we have some time to provide feedback, and then we're going to provide you information report, I think, at our next meeting in July. That strange picture there, the round thing, that's a new flow meter that's been installed at Bowers. And then in terms of ARSA, we had started disposing at the beginning of the summer. We switched to CDCR. Now they're switching back to ARSA again. So we're going to start lowering the reservoirs some more. And then Mason and I have been working on the financial modeling with our consultant. We put in quite a bit of time at the end of June, and we're continuing to work on that.
Tom, if I could ask you a quick question.
Yep.
On your design discussion there, did any of that help with the solar question that came up a couple of weeks ago in terms of what do we do now?
No.
Okay.
So that's still, we're going to do the information report in July, and then we're going to bring back the solar thing. It says July here. It's actually going to be in August because
Fair enough.
there's a lot of information there. So we want you guys to absorb
Very good. Thank you.
part of it. And then weed abatement, talked to the fire department. It's a little bit delayed this year because we had kind of the rain was kind of staggered. So they're still doing their inspections, but we're ready kind of when they're done to take the next step. And then we're starting to talk with some potential consultants who could act as code enforcement officers. And then that top picture there, we had a company come out, look at the swamp coolers on the auditorium. Turns out there's, I don't think they've worked for some number of years. There's some parts that need to be fixed. So we're getting some estimates on that. Sutter Hill repaving project, it's scheduled to start July 27th. And then thanks to Councilmember Reardon, ACTC agreed to pay half of the additional option on that. So they're going to pay half and the city will pay the half and we'll do the full project. We also completed some sidewalk repairs and shaving down the edges on Manor Court and Gopher Flat. We're still waiting for parts on the diving board, which is frustrating everybody. I hear from the lifeguards all the time. But I think our lifeguards are doing a great job and that part seems to be going very well. And then, we've got some other projects that were in the recently approved budget that we're just starting to do some planning on.
Can you give us an idea of the first few to come down the pipe of the smaller, not the major projects, but the
Yeah, I mean, there's some of the smaller ones. I'm kind of blanking on them right now, but
would any of them happen to be the sidewalk in front of Scott Harvey Fox's?
I don't think that was one of the first ones we were going to look at again,
Okay.
because there was that concern about the greenstone.
Right, we weren't really sure what to do with it. I was wondering
Yeah.
if we were getting closer to an answer and a cost.
I mean, I have the feeling it's going to be, do
Really
we pave it
expensive.
over or not, kind of basically.
Right.
And then we did get a USDA rural business development grant submitted. It was due on June 30th. We worked with Generator. They had a grant writer who helped us and she thought it was good application. It's been accepted. It's in review. So it seems to be moving along. Then with Sacramento State, we're having this startup social on July 21st at La Mesa Tasting Room. They've organized a speaker. They're inviting a bunch of people from their list. We're promoting it as well. It's a CEO of a company that's taking forestry waste to generate energy, basically. It's going to come and give a talk. And then the dispensary is at the Planning Commission this Wednesday. We were talking about scheduling today. We had originally thought it was going to be coming to council August 3rd. But with the noticing and with when the Ledger dispatch comes out, it's not going to make that meeting. It's going to come out on the next one, which is, we'll just add 17th. And then I think council knows, but our clerk left for a higher paying position. I am talking to two firms about an interim city clerk while we do a longer term search. And it looks pretty promising. I may have somebody starting as soon as Wednesday. So comes highly recommended. I'm talking to the person tomorrow. And then Mason has been very busy with audit data requests. And we were just talking, this audit is still in our old financial system. So it's hitting him. He has to go look things up. Or next year, they'll be able to go in themselves into our new system.
What was the status on the Amador City PD? You have it there, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got some red lines over to them. So the ball is in their court about potentially switching to having Sutter Creek provide law enforcement services.
Were the red lines considering their response or the sheriff's department response?
No, it was our response. So it was our proposed contract to them. And then a couple of pictures from the pool party this last on the 4th. And I think it's gotten better each year, bigger each year. And we had a pretty good crowd this year. This guy plays kind of Caribbean music. He said he had a good time. I think people gave him a lot of tips and seemed to appreciate the music, so that was good. And we have our concert in the park this coming Friday, July 10th. And then obviously the county fair, and then the Ragtime Festival comes first weekend in August. And then on your agendas, as I told you, we're going to go over the phase 1 deliverables for the wastewater plant. We're also going to have the sewer system management plan. We were shooting for this meeting, didn't quite make it, so you're going to have it at your next meeting. And then probably more in August will be the audit, solar battery plan. And here I'm showing Embark on August 17th. And we also have code enforcement and our impact fee annual report. And I mentioned it last time, I'm just continuing to put it here. We're potentially going to cancel the September 8th meeting after Labor Day, but we'll see what the agendas look like.
The code enforcement agenda item will be updated ordinances for us, but it seems about time to get an update for the council. I guess it would be in closed session on the active cases. Could we do that sometime soon?
Yeah, I think the order. So I want to get a actual code enforcement consultant on board who will pick up our 2 main cases.
Mhm.
And give them some time then to give you guys an update. So I know it's taking a little bit longer. The budget just started. We didn't really have money budgeted for this. So
If the update is no update, it doesn't make any sense.
yeah, I think if you can wait a little bit, let's get this person on board. Let's get the ordinances coming, and then we can give you guys an update. Yeah, I can share some stuff with you guys one-on-one too, but
Any chance that the swamp coolers might be up before the Ragtime Festival?
we've been talking about potentially renting some portable air conditioners for that
Oh, okay.
and seeing how those work. And if they work well, potentially buying some that would be available for people that rent the auditorium for an extra fee. So they wouldn't be on like all the time, but there'd be an option to use them. So that's just something we've been kicking around as a potential idea.
I don't know where they are, but Accra had, I'm not sure that they were air conditioners, but they were way more impressive than regular fans that they were using for things they did at the schoolhouse. And they were pretty effective. So if they're kicking around somewhere in the Accra surplus.
Yeah, I don't know where anything is left at this point. I think it's all, that wasn't on the list that I saw either, but
I don't remember seeing anything of any coolers or, If
They
it-
used them at school for the cooking classes that they had and.
because the county does have a identified storage area where the merchandise and stuff, the equipment that we had left over that none of the cities took, so I think it would be, I could get a hold of Bradley Booker, who's on the committee. There is a small committee, county committee, and just ask.
yeah, that would be
That'd
good.
great.
And that's my update.
Any questions for Tom besides those we already asked?
No, but Tom mentioned Dan's efforts with about getting more money for Sutter Hill Road, so I wanted to thank him for those efforts.
Hey, Dan.
Thanks.
Yay, Dan.
Yep.
And also thanks to the staff for doing the pool party. I think it's
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
It was
it's
really good.
Yeah.
pretty special. I was there at the end of the day and there were still like 50, 60 people. I know last year you had more people working on it, but it's just nice to have. And I don't think we needed all the trucks. I mean, people were just happy to be there with music and get in for free. And I
Yeah.
noticed a lot of people that I don't recognize usually going to the pool. And I think that's
Yeah.
important.
We bought some dry ice and some ice cream, and that sold out. We didn't want to have extra left over, so I think it was gone by the time you got there.
It was definitely. Okay, next we had a presentation on the agenda, but due to a scheduling conflict with the recipient, we're going to push that to the next meeting. So we have 6A, the approval of minutes.
Unless somebody has anything, I would move to approve.
Second.
Yeah, we can do a roll for the vote.
Well, I don't know. I guess that different opinions with different clerks. Maybe it's up to you. Everyone's in person.
Mhm.
So I think I can say all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
One abstain.
Sounds like it's 5-0.
Julia abstained.
One
So it's
One abstain.
401.
Got it. Thank
Okay.
you.
The consent agenda tonight. Oh, man, sorry, guys. I don't have paper. So this is an experiment. Is the Board of Supervisors putting the continuation of the abandoned vehicle fee on the ballot?
Right.
I had one comment. I'm not sure we have to pull it. Anybody else? Okay, my comment was, uh, uh, as they're putting this on the ballot, certainly the county, I'm sure would have prepared some information on how this program works. I believe a lot of the abandoned vehicles come to our town around the corner here, and we've had some issues with that.
Yeah,
I-
I checked on that. They do not.
Well, we checked on that last year,
Yeah.
and they assured us that they drain them of liquid before it goes over there,
Yeah,
but they
this
said
is
that they
for-
do.
This is for vehicles. What you're talking about, I believe he has the contract for RVs only
I've
Well-
never heard that.
with
Where
the
you-
county.
Where
You
are we
never
talking
heard
about
what?
Specifically?
The auto dismantling place.
Ugh.
Uh,
Yeah.
I just thought while this is all prepared, it would be an opportunity to get that information.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was curious about, so I asked.
Okay,
And they used somebody else for cars. the
for
vehicle.
abandoned vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so weird because I had asked the same question of multiple people and never got that response.
Hmm.
Anyway, so it's $1, huh? It's a,
Never got which response? I'm
I
confused.
never got the response that it's for RVs only.
Neither had I, and I thought that the last response we got was that they assured us that they take the liquid
That's right.
out.
That's right. But they never made the distinction between autos and RVs. Who were you talking to, Tom?
I think, I'm trying to remember. So I think it was
Okay.
somebody at the county.
Yeah.
So this is a renewal of an existing one.
Yeah. That's what this is.
It,
Continuation.
yeah, they need to know our approval tomorrow.
Sure.
If they don't get enough cities, then they have to wait 2
Right.
years to another election, I think.
What does a buck end up providing? I mean, it didn't seem like very much money.
Yeah, well, I guess it pays for the program.
A buck a vehicle?
Yeah,
On registration, yeah.
Every vehicle, not just abandoned vehicles, on your registration.
Correct.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, well,
honestly, I don't know a lot about the program. It's just
Fair
kinda
enough.
They sent it
Yeah.
to us.
I don't think they process a lot of abandoned vehicles, to be honest.
yeah,
But when there is an abandoned vehicle, it certainly is nice to have a program. And speaking for myself, who's had vehicles abandoned on their property, that it's just having the ability to start an enforcement process. You most of the times you put a tag on it.
yeah,
That's what all it takes is to get somebody to get it off your property.
yeah.
It gets them moving.
Are any of the vehicles up on Ridge and Highway 49 behind the Shell station where that collection of stuff is? Are any of those vehicles, could they be considered abandoned
I don't think so. I think the guy owns them.
if they're not registered?
I don't think so if they're on your own property. It's usually the property owner initiates the process because they're complaining because somebody's
Somebody-
abandoned a vehicle on their property. That's
That makes sense.
my experience.
Well, I think I'm going to take the opportunity to ask that question of some more people while this is, on the top of their desks.
Yeah.
But that being said, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, Jim, you're up. Thank you for your patience.
Hello, Jim Rooney, Amador County Assessor. This is my annual presentation to you about assessments in the county as well as Sutter Creek. And this year, the assessments isn't terribly exciting, except for there's some interesting information about growth. We have a lot of data in our office. By the way, Tom, thanks for
Yeah, sorry about that. Back and forth.
indulging me. We had to, I didn't know you could save those things as we did. Anyway, it worked out. Can you go to the next slide? For 2026, just to let you know that the assessments that we did, any changes we made, they're going to be reflected in the property taxes coming out later this year in December and next April. Actually, they're coming out, they'll probably come out in like September, October, due in December. And the Prop 13 annual adjustment, as is mandated by the state this year, is 2%. That's based on the California Consumer Price Index. And they say the inflation rate's 5 or 6 or 8%. I think it's about 12, but it doesn't matter. It's more than 2%. And if it's more than 2%, every assessment in the county that there's not new construction or change of ownership will go up 2%. Could you go to the next slide? All right. So last year it was 3.01%, essentially 3% growth in the county of assessments. And that's not very much. What that is basically is there's everybody's assessment went up 2%. And people that sold their homes, generally they have a an assessment that is under, we're all under Prop 13, but it's under Prop 13 and it's artificially low because Prop 13 only allows things to go up 2%. And what it also does is it really helps people understand and anticipate what their next year tax bill is going to be. It's not going to be more than 2% of what it was last year. So, you know, you can kind of count on that and budget for it. And it's very reliable. And 3.01% essentially means that the sales that happened in the county probably had, you know, when somebody buys a home for $500,000, they probably had an assessment of like 280 or 300,000, and that goes up to that 500,000, which means the tax bill goes from $3,000 to $5,000. And as a side note, we're still dealing with Prop 19, which isn't really reducing potential revenues in the county, but it really affects the locals who have lived here and want to stay living here. I'm going to give you an example. I probably gave it to you last year. This is a common thing that happens. Somebody from outside the area, and I'm going to say the Bay Area, some lady got so mad at me. She says, "You're telling us you don't like us?" I said, "No, this is just an observation." They sell their home for $1.2 million in the East Bay. They come to, and their assessment is like $100,000. They've owned it since 1980. So they sell it for $1.2 million. They come to Amador County. They spend $500,000. And they say, "Oh, by the way, we want to bring over our $100,000 assessment, which means that we're only going to pay $1,000 a year," while the locals who buy, especially under the age of 55, they're paying that $5,000. And that's it's really unfair because, for one thing, the people from out of the area generally would have, you know, a $700,000 net gain. And then you add to the, you know, add to that the decrease in property taxes. Really an unfair thing, and I don't like it. However, it's the law. And you know what? If I was coming from out of the area and I had a low base, I'd bring it with me too. So, sorry, I'm on a side note there. But I looked around and nobody's waiting. So anyway, go to the next one if you would. Oh gosh, see that number right there? I know you. Gosh, I knew it would
Absolutely.
be small, but I didn't know it'd be that small. Shoot. You know, I do have enough copies for everybody, but what I'm gonna,
Just read.
share.
do you guys want to have copies of this? Just, you can have it and look at it later too. How's that? Is that all right? You know, I brought copies because I couldn't get,
Thanks. That's all right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
I don't want to take it. Thanks, Jim.
I already have it. Let's-
Okay, that particular sheet that is up right now. It's kind of interesting, and you can look at it because it's what it is. It's assessed values of every jurisdiction in the county since 2007. And I kind of started in 2007 because that was right before we had that crash in 2008. And anyway, if you can, like, if you were to look at Sutter Creek in 2007, things went up 9%. Then they went down a little bit. And for about 4 years straight, assessments went down. And they've been steadily increasing 2 to 5 to 7%, 5% for the past 12, 13 years. It's a steady growth. And actually, it's a good growth. If it's going up 15, 20%, you're going to have a crash that's going to hurt. When it goes up 4 or 5%, it's a steady growth that's kind of stable. I prefer it because when we have to lower values, it's hard. And people tend to blame me for reduced revenues in jurisdictions. All right, let's see. So last year, I'm going to go to just Sutter Creek alone. Your growth last year was 3.59%. You see that bottom in 2026? You're at 3.59%.
That's in total revenue collected, Jim?
Well, that is
For
in
property tax?
that's in assessed
Just
value,
assessment
which
value.
will result
In the
in,
same-
you know, revenue correct. And you'll have to deal with, you know, the allocations from the county. This
Yeah.
is basically just a growth. By the way, I kind of like numbers and stats. Sutter Creek is about 6.67% of the total county in terms of assessed value. If you look, Ione now is about 11%, and Jackson's about 10%. The unincorporated area of the county is 68%. So it's really the big dog in the county. So anyway,
So Jim, if we're
Yes.
looking at our property tax revenue as a city,
yes.
would we take last year's and inflate it by that 3.59?
Yeah, I would say that would probably be pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, at the county, the administration asks us to give them a potential increase. And we always, this year, I think we told them 2.5% because we just saw there was, not only is there really hardly any growth, property values are declining right now. They're going down. Not very much, but you know, a few percent. And I'm going to tell you, back in 2008 and 9, I'm going to tell you, my experience was property values went down 40%. That hurts. Now they're down 1% or 2%, I think, which kind of seems like a lot because we expect a 4 or 5% increase. But if it's 1% or 2% decrease, that's a 6 or 7% difference, but not a lot.
Jim,
Yes.
of the property tax, can you give us the rough percentage that goes to the county from city properties and what goes to the city?
You know, if you'd have asked me that before, I'd have said, I'll look
I
into
ask
it.
you that every year.
You know, and I think every year I say, that's a Tacey Ruin question. That's the county auditor. And they'll tell you, and I used to have that information. But I really don't like answering questions for other department heads because they'll say, Jim, did you know this or that is also in play? But
Fair
they're-
enough.
They're very accommodating and they should be able to give you very specific amounts. And that's important to know too. All right, so can I go to the next slide? These numbers I find fascinating. The number of residences in each jurisdiction. Right now, Sutter Creek, according to our records, has 982 residences. And 522 of those are considered primary residence. That means this is their main home. That's what they live in. Last year was 523. The year before that, 528. The year before that, 531. Before that, 544, 550. This shows about 5 straight years of decreasing numbers who consider it their primary residence. Now, there are a number of people who it is their primary residence, but they decide they don't want to have a homeowner's exemption, which is how we know it's a primary residence. However, regardless, the number of primary residences, our numbers are going slightly down. And the total number of residences, for some reason, I'm showing 5 new homes in Sutter Creek over last year. Huh. Maybe I guess that's right. So very small growth. But I want you to look at even in Ione, considered the fastest growing area in the county, they are showing 9 new homes last year. That's not very many. None in Amador City. None in Plymouth. 8 in Jackson. In the unincorporated areas. Anyway, so can you go to the last slide? I was going to tell you the number of residences, but I remembered I had this slide. This is the number of new primary residences and new homes in Amador County. I'm going to the right is new homes. Last year, there were 55 new homes in all of Amador County. And that's not a whole lot. But it is, what it is. Let's see, there's 8,244 homes in Amador County, residences, 55. It's less than a 0.5% increase. And the increases have been over the past 3 years have all been less than 1%. So anyway, but the thing that I find interesting is the primary homes in Amador County. In the last 4 years, you can see last year there was a decrease of primary residences of 49. The year before that, 138. The year before that, 14. And then prior to that, 142 less primary residences. And that does indicate that there's homes in here that maybe they're rentals or maybe they're a second home for people. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that's what it is. And I thought that might be something that would be of interest to the city councils. And especially, I'm going to visit soon, the school board. That's a big deal I would think it would be a big deal for them. So anyway, that's just information. And that's what I got. Do you have any questions, concerns? No complaints.
No complaints. Appreciate the information.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks a lot.
Tom,
I got
Tom had a question.
A couple of questions. How do rental apartments show up in your numbers?
We don't have them segregated.
So does it show up as one property?
Yeah, it would be, actually, no. If it's an apartment with 9 units, it wouldn't show up in here. If it was a duplex, it would show up in here.
So like we have what is it, 39 unit apartment building being
Yeah.
constructed?
Oh, it's being constructed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's,
So would that just show up as a commercial building or?
that would show up as a multi-residential building. And it would show up probably as a building that has 18 or 20 bedrooms or however many bedrooms there are and baths. And you could look at those numbers and extrapolate and figure out how many units there were. We can go into our data and get some of that information. Yeah.
And then just two other things. One thing, I know Mason sometimes reaches out. We're trying to track our revenue as a city, forecast it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so hopefully we can work with your office on that kind of stuff. And then the second one I emailed you about was this, I don't know if you can help us figuring out how to establish the deed for City Hall, which has this history, but it's not actually not
Am-
currently registered to the
Am
city.
I on a 5-minute limit too? Just kidding. No, I did want to tell you first, you had Maeve Clement working for you, I think.
Yeah.
And she called us and wanted to get some information, and she was very nice to deal with. When we can help you in that, we will. It's a little hard for us to segregate out Sutter Creek. We look at the county as a whole. But still, we can give you some information that might be helpful. Now, as far as the deed of Sutter Creek, I looked into that, and I have an email that I was composing that after I spoke with the county recorder and county council and asked them what they thought, they said, it's rather obvious that Sutter Creek owns City Hall. And what was the other? Was there another?
The auditorium.
The auditorium, yeah.
Yeah.
And the county council looked at it and said, it's amazing that was it Township 4? Was that it? That they didn't deed it to the city. And they said, but there are things that can be done. And I want you to know, I'm, how do you say, passing the buck here? I really am too. Our records reflect what's in the recorder's office. But I spoke with the recorder's office, and Kim Grady, she gave me some information, which I'll share with you. She said, there's a few things that can be done and we can get the name corrected, and it should be done. She says, some of this is something that the city's going to have to do, but I'll get that. It was a very intricate sort of email from her and county council, and they're all in agreement that that should be in the.
So we're not going to lose City Hall.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
We keep asking those questions.
Yeah.
Our tax rate just went up though.
Yeah, a change of ownership.
So,
The,
so we'll look for that email. Our city attorney can work with the
Yeah,
city
I was putting it
county
together.
council.
I was putting it together, and I think you'd be best dealing with the recorder's office who records the deeds on those. But I'll share that information with you, and we'll help where we can.
Well, thanks for checking in on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. This isn't the last time I'm going to visit you guys, and I wanted to tell you something.
Are you retiring?
You guys are boring. No, you're talking about swamp coolers.
Pool parties,
Guess where I'm going tomorrow night? I own.
have fun.
And some of the other jurisdictions, I want to tell you over the years, I've seen people yelling at each other, and not necessarily Ione either, but I saw the mayor walk out of a meeting as somebody else. Oh, it's much more interesting.
We're happy to be boring, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, you guys are
We
doing fine.
pride ourselves
Hey.
on that.
But thank you.
Thanks. for
Thank you
coming.
very much.
Thanks for your time, and I'll,
Thanks, Jim.
So you're
you
retiring? Is that
retired?
what you're doing?
I'm quitting.
You're
Yeah.
quit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah. I'm in office until January.
He
Okay.
doesn't want to deal with that deed.
Yeah. Well, I can put it off long enough. No, Jeff Himmelman, he'll be the new assessor.
Okay.
Real sharp guy. And he was going to come here tonight. He's got a father who's a little bit sick. He's
Yeah.
helping out with, so.
Right.
But,
Well, good luck to you and thank you for everything.
well, thanks for all those times, and
Congratulations.
Yes.
and see you around town.
Yeah,
By the way,
thank
I'd love coming to Sutter Creek for dinner.
Good.
We do it all the time. All right.
Come more often.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Yes, again.
Thanks, Jim.
Take care.
Okay, mayor and council member reports. Susan.
I have nothing to report, but I was thinking, that we would work on having a marketing committee meeting maybe in September. And just kind of incorporate some of the ideas other townsfolk have.
Jim?
I don't have anything to report really, but I did find out that I was told previously that the Native Sons Historic Preservation Foundation next scheduled meeting was in September. They also told me that the meetings were quarterly, so that really didn't make sense. But so someone else told me that there was a meeting later this month, which does make sense if they're quarterly. So I hope that the second person is correct. And then our grant application for the Monteverde store will be heard sooner rather than later.
Super.
On that same note, we finalized the duck race kind of recap, and the Benefit Foundation's going to write a check to the city for 15,000 for the Monteverde store. 10 of it is from the duck race fund, and 5 of it is from a private donor to the foundation that wanted to direct it to the store.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right.
Julia?
We had a Bike Ped Advisory Committee meeting this afternoon. Good news, after 4 long years, we have a letter that will go to the county commissioners, or to the ACTC commissioners requesting a specific amount, all broken down, pretty much up to date. And that's the farthest this committee has ever been able to progress in trying to get the bike ped elements of the stop signs, the crosswalks, beacons, that we had been working, and that I brought information that we approved the resolution to send back. So that will be brought to the ACTC commissioners on August 6th. And hope under probably a consent agenda item, hoping to approve up to $15,000 to have everything. And then working with Bradley Booker, who is the project manager, and our Department of Public Works on transitioning and organizing, coordinating, hopefully getting this done. So this is the most optimistic we've ever been about actually getting this done. So that's good news. We're looking at future projects, but none of them pertain to Sutter Creek specifically. So it's just good news that we've made it this far, and it will come to the commissioners for a vote.
The project ended up at the end staying on the back roads, right? Or did it go on the highway?
On the highway, crossing the highway,
Crossing the highway.
Spanish Street, crossing the highway at Amelia,
Right.
and then up to the city limit. From there on, the county can do what it wants, moving in down Turner into Amador City, onto the Creeks Road, up to the Amador City prop line, and then Amador City will take care of its deal. So we're talking about really stencils. Most of the money is for stenciling and for paint.
I, just to do something different the other day on the Amador City Loop, I walked from the high school up Turner and down to Amador City, and then I walked up the old highway instead of on the back roads, just for something different, which it's still a really long hill. I don't recommend that. There's a lot of growth that goes over the shoulder line, and you have to kind of go into traffic, and you can't see. So it's something I observed.
On the way up,
Uh,
out of Amador City?
yes, so I was walking against traffic
Yes.
on the way up the hill. If
And
that's
most of that is county. The Amador City line doesn't go up that hill very, very far.
But when
Just past
they
the-
did the bypass, isn't the piece of highway between Sutter Creek and Amador City our collective problem now? Jim?
Answer the question again.
The piece of old 49 between Sutter Creek and Amador City, after the bypass, when they gave us, isn't that our problem now between us and Amador City?
I don't think so.
That's my understanding.
That's what you think too?
Yeah.
Because we've always handled
Outside-
that section, our discussion with the bike ped.
But in
is
terms of
only
like,
to the county and the county.
Are we talking about in terms of maintenance
Yes.
between the two, the city limits of Amador City and the city limits of Sutter Creek? Old,
right,
on the old highway?
on the old highway.
That's not a county road in that section? It's not county?
I thought that it was the city to here and then it was Amador City to here.
Well, there are,
Is there a space between them?
yes,
That is county.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Up until the city limits, yeah.
So where you're talking about, I understand, is in the county.
I think so too. Yeah,
So-
it was past town and it wasn't in our city limits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that space between the two is county.
Dan,
So kind of continuing that discussion then on the paving pilot thing, French Bar Road was paved last week or about 10 days ago
With the in-house project?
with the in-house
equipment,
project.
okay.
Yeah. And I drove out there and it's something. It goes off, well beyond a mile, and they did it in 3 days. We're still working out exactly what it cost and how's that going to, manifest in the future in terms of opportunistic.
And how does it compare to the what it would have cost otherwise?
Oh, I'm not exactly sure yet, but way, way, way cheaper.
Oh,
yeah.
great.
But like I say, they got to, bake it all up and figure out what's the fully loaded cost and how is that going to be accessible by municipalities. They're working with their attorney, ACTC is, on developing either a JPA or some kind of an agreement between the municipalities so that they can participate. There's legal issues about it in terms of how thick can the pavement be, where you don't have to go out for public bidding. Oh, yeah, it's very complex. There's a lot of issues that we're still working out. But anyway, that got done. This week or next week, they're doing String Bean Alley. Yeah,
That's a trial. We talked about that today. It's a trial project for their new pavers. Apparently they have some new.
that's what we're talking about.
machinery. Yeah. So that's
But
their
Including within the city limits of Sutter Creek or just?
No.
No, that's outside.
Just String Bean Alley, the
Well,
county.
String Bean Alley starts in Sutter Creek.
Well, it goes, but that's county road. When you turn left, heading toward Amador City,
I think so far, everything's been county.
it's all county. Except there was a little bit of French Bar that they did that extended down into the city limits of Jackson because a decision was made kind of on the fly, that because everything was there and they had enough stuff to just continue going a little bit further.
Do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's,
All the way down to-
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted. It's at our next meeting at ACTC, Mona, the attorney, is going to present what she thinks will be a solution to help us participate more in this thing. I'll be curious to see how limited it is in terms of what's really legal. What can we really do? How much money can we really save? I'm hopeful, but
Well,
there's some things they
Is
need
it
to iron out.
illegal because there's legislation that protects unions or something?
Absolutely.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
And
That's-
again, it has to be fully loaded costs with benefits and everything. And I'm not sure if they're like.
None of that has been comprehended yet. So all that work is yet to be done. And it's funny because some of the members on the commissioners on ACTC are, chomping at the bit saying, oh, now's the time to be paving. And I'm kind of sitting on the other side saying, okay, well, you've done the pilot now. You got to analyze it. You got to make sure that everything we're doing is legal. Tom helped us make sure we understand the breadth of the considerations. And, it's something that ACTC, it frustrates them. They want to move forward because it's been so long since anybody felt like
Frustrates everybody
they
because
got
you
anything
can't-
done.
Because projects, the cost just gets
Exactly,
driven
exactly,
sky high
totally.
when it shouldn't. That's,
Right. But at the same time, we don't want to be foolish and make a wrong move and then you're in some kind of lawsuit and it's millions of dollars. So yeah, good news, good news. It's, and the crew's doing a really good job. I hear great things. Our local resident here, Kenny New, who lives down on Main Street here, is the fella who's heading it up. He's doing the training. He's a good guy and very invested and appreciate his work.
What happens when it's done in-house if something goes wrong?
Well-
You know, when we go out to bid, that's baked into the plan, right?
Right. I can't answer that question today. I will be able to after all this legal stuff is figured out because it includes that type of questioning and answers.
Okay, is that everybody? City Attorney's report. Nope. We've got some couple letters in here. If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn out of our open session, take a quick recess and go into closed session.